And I decided that in that moment, I was going to rewrite my story and I wasn't going to be the victim. And I had this beautiful opportunity to redo my life, if you will.
But this is my house, Mommy. The one I asked Mr. Springer for. It is, I know it is.
Welcome to The Pursuit of Home, coming to you from New York City. This is real people buying real estate and their unique journey to get there. We share the tips, tricks, and frameworks to help you navigate the bumps in the road that you won't see on reality TV or social media, and which no one has talked about until now. The home search doesn't always happen because you want it to, or when you want it to. And even when the news is great, wedding bells, positive pregnancy tests, empty nests, it isn't any less scary. On today's episode, we take scary to the extreme. You'll meet Christina, who not only lost her house to a fire, but then had to go through a divorce on top of it. How would you handle that? Would you go and find a new house? Would you rebuild? What did Christina learn and what lessons are in it for you? I also bring in Dr. Michael Aronoff, a psychiatrist and one of the hosts of SiriusXM's Doctor Radio, to discuss how to handle the stress of not only situations like these, but the stress of your own home search. So don't set your house on fire just yet. Settle in and get ready for today's episode of The Pursuit of Home. Christina, it's great to have you here. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Let's start. I'd love to hear, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. So again, thank you for having me here. My name is Christina, and I am an insurance agent for, if you promise not to tell anybody, 26 years. And I am a proud single mom to two young girls, Mia and Mackenzie. And I'm really passionate about impacting my community, travel junkie, and just being a person that inspires throughout the day and leads my team. And I just believe in doing honest work.
Well, it's this story I know is going to be inspiring, and that's why I wanted to have you here. So we're starting with the ironic part of this, that you're an insurance agent and your house burned down in a fire.
Literally to the ground.
So most people are pretty intimidated by renovating a kitchen or a bath. And you could have taken the money, you're very well versed in all the things, the process that was going to happen when there was something catastrophic that happened to a house, but you chose to rebuild the house.
Yeah.
So the question is, what motivated you to do that versus going and finding another house?
That's a really great question. And the irony also is that morning of the fire, speaking about like the bathroom or the kitchen renovation, I was sitting at my kitchen table kind of sketching out, this is the pot of money, because we had recently purchased the home. Am I doing a kitchen renovation or will I do 2 bathrooms? And what's more important to our family at the time? And then that's when the story started. And so for me, rebuilding and on that plot of land, there was never a question. I have like the greatest neighbors. Where I live, I love. And I had just moved into that neighborhood. I was only a few blocks away, but I needed more space. My second daughter was recently born. And so it was really like not even a thought for me that I would go elsewhere. I don't think I knew what I know today about the construction process. And that was probably a good thing, right? That I went into it blind as far as the time commitment to building a house literally from the ground up.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that. So just to make sure I'm hearing you right, it's that you had already spent all of this time finding this house, meaning finding the location, and you're like, we love it. We're like, as hard as it was to get there, okay, this terrible thing happened, but you already felt like it wasn't, you didn't have to reinvent the wheel.
No, it was home already. It was just this magical little place, and I was going to stay there.
And then at that time, it's you and your husband at the time, and you're making this decision to rebuild, and then suddenly you're getting divorced. So I want to ask you, you could have easily gone down the road. I mean, you just lost your house. Now you're getting divorced. You could feel like a victim. Just for the fire, never mind the divorce. But what tools did you use at that time to sort of take your power back?
Yeah.
Because you committed to rebuilding the house. Now you're kind of doing this on your own.
Yes.
And that's
suddenly
you
too.
can't do that without like taking the bull by the horns.
Yeah. So the fire was in October, and then the divorce was in March. Early March is when the divorce unfolded. And there was that moment where I said, you have some options here, Christina. And I had 2 babies staring at me. And I think looking back, my biggest blessing was that I had to be a mom and I had to run a business, right? My customers didn't really care. They're great, my customers, but they didn't really care.
But they also have their own lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had to show up. And I decided that in that moment, I was going to rewrite my story and I wasn't going to be the victim. And I had this beautiful opportunity to redo my life, if you will. I could build a home just the way I wanted, and I can navigate the divorce. I don't want to say the way I wanted because he had to cooperate in that. Right. But when it happened, and we didn't, consciously uncouple. I know that's
not meaning like it wasn't like a.
It was tragic.
It wasn't friendly.
No, it was a tough time. But we decided that the marriage was over, and let's raise beautiful, healthy children and co-parent to the best of our ability. So much so that he's a neighbor of mine now. So we're doing our best in what could have been a bad situation.
And to add on to the question there, what did you tell yourself during building a whole house when the things did get tough? Because as much as you said, I wish there were certain things that I'm glad I didn't know.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing that people should know is it doesn't go according to one plan.
It's not a straight line.
Right. There's always going to be some bumps in the road. Yeah. That's true for buying a house. And it's definitely true for renovating. But what did you say to yourself? What were the things that, when things did get tough? And it's just, I don't want to say it's just you.
But it was just me,
you.
Yeah. Well, I also, before I answer that, I think, and you can speak to this too, having an incredible team around you, not only personally, but professionally, the builder I chose, to all the subcontractors and like that level of communication when things did go maybe wrong or not on target. That was really, really powerful. I let myself feel the emotions. I would drive home from, I do a really good job of like, I'm just going to cry and live in that moment. And I was a student of therapy. I would meditate. I listened to Dr. Wayne Dyer daily. Like I really took my self-care and heightened it.
Like you took it to another level.
I had to take it to another level because I knew I didn't want to be bitter. I didn't want to be that person that you meet that tells you like all the horrible things wrong in their life. And I knew that was going to take some work because I was angry. I'm like, wait a second, my house is on the ground. I don't have a husband. I have babies. Like, how did I get here?
It would be very easy.
Yes, to play. And I struggled. I took a good year to literally just work and raise my kids. And I did very little else socially. And I had like
while this was going on.
While this was going on, I just had to like go inside and be me and figure this all out. And then I kind of like popped up.
But I want to touch on something you said, because there is an element of finding this team and then trusting that team, right?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people go into renovation where even though they don't really know how it's going to go, they come from a place perhaps of like not trusting the person.
I love that.
And so then every time something goes wrong, they think that the contractor's out to get them.
No, yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe, by the way, it doesn't matter. Whatever you decide, it's like when something happens, you can say, well, this person's trying to get one over on me, or this just happened.
Yes.
And so is it fair to say like that you came from a place, I'm going to trust these guys.
Yes.
This team, the people and they're going to do the best they can do, and we're going to figure it out together. Is that kind of
Absolutely. I knew my builder a bit from my past life, but I didn't know him this well in the process of building an entire home. And I remember there was an instance when we were working on my master bedroom, and I said to him, Bill, I don't need an outlet on that side of the bed, and I only need one walk-in closet. And he looked at me. He goes, Christina, you'll meet somebody one day. I'm like, that's ridiculous, Bill. Do not put an outlet there. And we're like and that was like my way of exerting my control. And we put the outlet, we put the closet. He's very good friends with Arthur because we just did a backyard renovation. And he was like, oh, she was adamant about not having your closet. And, I didn't know him at the time, of course. But I trusted him on so much that I didn't know about construction. And
that's why you hire a person.
Yes,
you have to have the faith that this person, you interview them. You don't have to dive into it. You can meet a couple people, see who you're comfortable with. But at the end, that's why they're doing that job.
Yeah.
You don't hire your uncle to do your insurance if they're not an insurance salesman.
And it allowed me, that year, my business flourished, which you would think wouldn't happen. And because I was just so laser focused on that, knowing I trusted him. And even like in my process of hiring my divorce attorney, I remember I was like adamant about this one issue, and she looked at me and she goes, this is ridiculous. And to this day, I laugh about it because I was so keen on sharing Thanksgiving. We're different religions, so it wasn't an issue. But on Thanksgiving, I'm like, we will share the day. And she goes, until he meets somebody in the Hamptons and you meet somebody in Westchester. I'm like, oh, what do you know? She knew something. And so I liked that she was a strong personality.
An advisor.
Yes.
An advisor.
And I just said, this is what you do. I'm just going to follow you. And she didn't steer me wrong.
All right. I want to get a little deeper here.
Please.
All right. Because it's sort of, you had these two major things going on, and they connect to each other, or they relate to each other in some way. What was more impactful to you? Did rebuilding the house prove more helpful in rebuilding your life? Yeah. Okay. After the divorce, or was it the other way around, that the divorce gave you like more energy to rebuild the house?
I love that question. Yes. I would answer the divorce. Rebuilding the house to this day gives me a sense of like unbelievable peace, and that I did it. Like I am very proud that I'll pull up to the house sometimes and I'm like, I built this house. Like, how did that happen, right? So that gives me a great sense of like pride and being able to share that with my girls and hopefully raising strong girls. But the divorce really shaped who I am today.
So if you're out there listening, and if you're walking down the street, driving your car, whatever, I just want to point this out, that the energy around the divorce, you just pull out the word divorce and you could just say, the decision I made with my husband, or the decision I made on my own to renovate this bath or this kitchen. It's that decision, the power of that decision, that will ultimately carry you with all the energy, because every day you're going to go through the crazy stuff of renovating. And that's that knowing, like, I decided to do this, I'm ready, I'm motivated. That's what's going to get you through, not the bad thing or not the fire. It's the reaction. It's taking that power back.
I love that you said that. And it is so true what you just said. Like, I made that decision, and it wasn't always easy to live into it. And we're human, right? We have our moments. But I knew that I made a video on my first birthday divorced. And I was talking into the camera. I felt a little crazy, to be honest with you. But I said, Christina, this is exactly what your life is going to look like in 12 months. And it wasn't material. It was just like where I was going to be mentally, emotionally, what my business was going to look like. And I've played that for one person, my dear friend at work, Tom. And it's incredible that like exactly what I said and I had that intention happened. And I think that's the power of the decision and the mindset. And it went like this. It wasn't a straight process there.
The video didn't say I'm going to
No.
have a great business and a house that I love.
And then I went on
it's gonna be
vacation for
easy.
12 months. No,
it's going to be, I'm going to
It's a
have
grind.
this, right. I'm going to have this thing and I'm going to learn a lot
Yeah.
and we're going to get through it. But I'm going to, at the end, the result is going to be this.
Exactly.
Got it. All right. What lessons did you learn about your life from the process? And, what questions should people ask themselves if they're thinking about doing a big or small renovation? I mean, let's hope they have, they have a part, not just a contractor, but maybe they're going in this with somebody else too.
Absolutely. I think that the trust of the team around you, not only just like who you're hiring, but who are you surrounding yourself with, like your friends and your colleagues and all those people that elevated my game, right?
As opposed to like you were going through a divorce and everyone was like, oh, poor you.
Yes.
You didn't surround yourself with that kind of energy.
No, I remember the week I got into my rental home after the fire. It was a beautiful, beautiful home in Point Lookout. And we do Sunday morning bagels as a family. And my stepdad walked in and he goes, all right, we should quit feeling bad for you, because it was a big, beautiful home. But it wasn't my home. I was using somebody else's stuff. But he was right. And like, I was just around that energy of let's move forward. And I had this like incredible support system. But renovations, like, if you think if it's going to go smoothly, you're wrong. Like, it has to twist and turn to get to the big, beautiful end.
Like, it's just unavoidable.
It's unavoidable. Whether it's like, and you know more than me, whether it's a permit issue or you thought the wood was this color and you wanted that color and now you have to reorder, or in my backyard renovation, I was putting these beautiful pavers and I guess somebody walked on it so it dips and some water's puddling and now we have to fix it this summer. Like, may this be my biggest problem? Is it annoying when I look at that? But knowing that it's going to get fixed, that these things like happen.
Right.
I think just plan for the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected.
Yeah, expect the unexpected. Yes.
Well, Christina, thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, this is awesome.
To be so open and honest about this experience is hugely helpful.
If one person could be inspired that they could rewrite their story, then that's awesome. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. So that was my conversation with Christina, which I thought was incredible. And I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts about what you would do if your home burned down, how you might deal with a divorce. But after the break, we're going to have a conversation with Michael Aronoff, Dr. Michael Aronoff, who is on Dr. Radio on Sirius Radio, Sirius XM. And I can't wait to have that conversation where he's going to share some thoughts, his thoughts about my conversation with Christina. Well, we're back, and I am really happy to have with me Dr. Michael Aronoff, who is, among many other things, one of the hosts of Dr. Radio on Sirius XM. Dr. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure I know that list of other things I am, but okay, it's good to be here.
Well, I'll tell our listeners a little bit more about you. You're a clinical professor of psychiatry at NYU School of Medicine, but for the purposes of what we're doing, you've also been a TV and radio broadcaster for many, many years, including hosting Dr. Radio. So thanks for being here. I know you've written a lot of books. I don't know if anybody's asked you to listen to a conversation like the one we asked you to listen to. But before we get into too much, I'm curious, any takeaways from the conversation that jump out that you want to touch on first?
Yes, well, I know your audience has already heard the interview, and what is most notable about this is what, in effect, the questions are about how do you handle stress? And life throws stress at us in very many different ways. High levels of stress are known for loss, if you lose somebody in death, in marriage, in losing a job, and so forth, but also moving and home-related issues. Whether you feel safe or threatened or not, all can lead to stress. And what is stress? Stress is a body and psychological reaction to perceived threats.
It's not, what's really funny is that I think most people don't realize the level of stress that even a regular home search puts people under, never mind the level of stress that Christina went through. I guess what I am trying to get to the heart of here is, how does a project like the one Christina took on, rebuilding a house, how does that help someone overcome the adversity that she faced, the fire and divorce?
Well, the fire and divorce, there was a lot going on in her life, and we don't know the details about that, and we're not going to speculate about what else might be at play. But in any case, the general way of approaching any kind of perceived threat is, first of all, to take some deep breaths first and try to understand what you're experiencing in terms of the possible threats, your perspective on, and your own behavior. You don't want to act impulsively under circumstances like that. So what she did was undertake a project. She went into action rather than sit and stew over things. And that's a first step for many people in terms of dealing with stress.
Yeah, I imagine that when you're hosting your show, you're getting people calling you like in immediate need for this kind of
that, of course,
advice.
happens.
And, if you're out there listening, you're going to be in these different steps of looking to buy a home or looking to do renovation. And so it's okay, take a pause, take some deep breaths, step back a little bit and regain your calm.
Well, I would also add that you're looking for some sort of relief, some sort of way out, some sort of reestablishing yourself, reestablishing your foot, the way you're going to live your life. So you want to know what your expectations are, and you want to be able to manage your expectations. And in the process of doing that, you also have to manage your own self-care in terms of making decisions.
So as people set out on this, the one thing that people, if you're out there, often you think this process is going to go like it does on TV, or you just see these beautiful pictures. But I don't know if it's bad news. I think it's just what the reality is that you're going to have bumps in the road.
That's not bad news, by the way. That's important, and it's important to be able to digest that and to know whom to turn to help you solve whatever the bumps in the road are.
So if I'm hearing you right, Michael, what you're saying is, hey, maybe set up a little bit of preparation before these bumps in the road, which are inevitably going to happen. Maybe think about who are the people you're going to talk to, who are the friends you're going to go to navigate this, not just your broker, but who's your team when you have to deal with some of this
Yes,
stress.
Of course. And who are going to help you make rational decisions, not impulsive decisions, but thoughtful, thought out decisions. Yes.
Well, Michael, Dr. Aronoff, thank you very much for being a part of our podcast today. And I hope to have you back a lot more to talk about other bumps in the road that happen for other buyers.
Well, I'd be happy to do so, Scott. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
That's our show for today. Thanks to our guests and experts for being here. If you like the podcast, we're produced by and part of the More Network, powered by Brown Harris Stevens. Check out all the amazing podcasts on the network talking about the New York City real estate market and beyond. If you found this episode helpful, rate and review it wherever you listen to your podcasts. Push that follow button on YouTube, share it with your friends, and check out how to recommend guests or apply to be on the show. You can discover other ways to pursue your home right there in the show notes. Real estate touches every aspect of our lives, from design and architecture to investing and the economy. Now there's a way to get all your real estate information in one place, the More Network. With more than 20 webcast series and podcasts, the Mastery of Real Estate Network is powered by Brown Harris Stevens, one of the country's most distinguished brokerages. Discover advice from notable entrepreneurs, compelling topics, and access top global real estate experts. Learn more about and subscribe to our YouTube and Apple podcasts by visiting getmorenetwork.com.